Good evening, everybody. I'm going to call this neighborhood board meeting number 29 to order. Today is January 8th, 2025 at 6 p.m. We are called to order. First, we're going to have Honolulu Fire Department come and give us a report, but I would like us all in person and online to take a moment of silence to pray or send good vibes out to those community members and the firefighter who was lost in the line of duty. I'll just take a minute here. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you. Mahalo, everyone. We'd like to welcome Captain Sueda from Honolulu Fire Department.
Thank you for that. Captain Sueda from the Kahalu'u Fire Station. The statistics this is for the month of December. We had 29 medical calls and one motor vehicle collision involving, or one motor vehicle collision. And then the safety tips for this month are for electrical fire risks. Electrical work should only be performed by qualified electricians. Check your electrical cords. If they are cracked or damaged, please replace them. Do not overload wall outlets or power strips and use certified power strips that meet safety standards. Extension cords should not be used for long-term use. They are designed for temporary use only, and follow the manufacturer's instructions for all appliances. If you have any other questions or information, safety tips, or checklists, you can visit the honolulufire.honolulu.gov.
Board members, anything for Captain
Questions?
Sueda? Board members online, anything for Captain Sueda? Community in person, anything? Sorry. Linda, can you come to the microphone just so we have it for the record?
The burners. So the question, I guess, is do we teach how to use the propane burners? We don't actually have a program for that. I think the best place to contact would be the community relations office. They do have a lot of awareness for that kind of stuff, and they might be able to set something up for you. But if you want to stop by the fire station, we're more than welcome to help you out too. Yeah. No problem. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Community online, anything for HFD? Seeing no hands. Thank you so much.
you.
Moving on in our agenda to Honolulu Police Department.
Good evening. I'm Officer Jared Atkins with the District 4 Community Policing Team. And we also have Major Kelly Paiva online as well. She's our district commander. The stats for December 2024 are as follows. The motor vehicle thefts, there were 0 in December versus 0 the previous month. There were 4 burglaries in December versus 2 the previous month. There were 5 thefts in December versus 9 the previous month. There was 1 UMV or a car break-in in December versus 0 previous month. There were 0 robberies versus 0 the previous month. And that's it for the stats. And we can take any questions or comments that you may have.
Mahalo. Board members in person, anything for HPD? Auntie Rocky? Grab the microphone, Auntie Rocky, right there.
Check. Yeah, I have a concern. Across the
Sure.
street where we live, it's towards the end of the strip in Hi'iakea Small by the Small Boat Harbor. At the beach side, of course, there's chronics all over the earth here, but there's a new encampment, and it's a filthy mess. You can go, you see store baskets, and you see whatever rags. But the point is, where are they using the bathroom? Because we utilize the beach. We utilize that area it's on the beach side, and I would like somebody to check into it. And they look spooky.
Okay, this is
These
on,
guys look spooky.
This is Kahalu'u.
Kamehameha Highway, at the
Okay.
end of the stretch, by the small boat, Heiakia Small Boat Harbor, towards
Yeah,
the end as you're going into Kahalu'u, it's on the beach side. It's a
Right.
new encampment. It's filthy. You get baskets there, you get clothes and rags all over the place. But they look spooky, but they're using the bathroom. Where are they using the bathroom? And you
Yeah.
can hear them nighttime. You can hear the profanity late at night yelling at each other. So the neighbors
Okay.
down the road where I live is also concerned. They have children. They're afraid. So
Yeah.
could you guys check on it, please?
Yes, we would definitely look into that.
Mahalo.
Yeah, sorry, just to touch base on what Auntie Rocky just said. So yeah, there's a group that parks across on the mountainside of that road. They all from Kahalu'u, they're fishermen. And when they're there, the group that Auntie Rocky's talking about isn't there. And then when they leave after they haul fish, that's when that group of people Auntie Rocky is talking about, they all show up and she's right. Like when I drive through that straightaway at nighttime, they're all over there, they're walking all over the road, making any kind, they get all kind rubbish, like she said, they're stacking tires and all kinds of stuff over there. So I can just confirming what she's saying. Like I've also seen it too because I live in that area right around the corner from her.
Okay. Got it. Yep.
Yeah.
We'll definitely go take a look.
Thank you.
Mahalo. And it's good to see our local fishermen there. When they're gone, it's when all the action's happening. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky and Keone. Board members online, anything else for HPD? Community, in person, anything for HPD? Online, community, anything for HPD? Any questions or concerns? Seeing none. Mahalo, HPD, for being with us. Thank you.
Thank
Moving
you.
on in our, thank you. Moving on in our agenda to the filling of vacancies on the board. We still need a secretary. So if any of our current board members would like to fill the secretary position, please let Parker or Rachel or myself know. We would love to have you assist Rachel in the secretary position. We have 2 vacancies in sub-district 6. We are having a hard time finding people who want to fill those vacancies. I'm hoping that this will change with the next neighborhood board election. So if you know people that live in sub-district 6, which I believe is the area on the Times Supermarket side of Hui'iwa Street, please tell them to join us. And if you're interested, email Rachel at rachel.cristobal@honolulu.gov with your proof of residency. Okay, moving on to city, state, and federal reports. We have Mayor Rick Giardi's Representative Regina here in person with us. Thank you, Regina.
Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. I actually brought one copy of the mayor's highlights, but we can probably put it in the chat too. There's a bunch of announcements. And I'll leave it here too for you folks. I don't think that we need to really say right now. It's just a bunch of different stories. But the first thing is the city is looking for exceptional individuals to join the Ocean Safety Commission. The initial meetings is forecasted for this summer, July 2025. And in preparation for the launch, we're looking for 5 qualified and passionate members to serve as commissioners. While the commission won't have direct operational or administrative authority over the Honolulu Ocean Safety Department, it is tasked with the following important duties: appointing the Ocean Safety Chief, reviewing the annual budget prepared by the Ocean Safety Chief and making recommendations to the mayor and the council, reviewing the department's operations, recommending improvements, evaluating the Ocean Safety Chief, hearing complaints from citizens, and submitting annual reports, just to sum that up. There are different eligibility requirements that you can find online. We can provide that link, I believe. But interested candidates should submit a resume and cover letter by January 31st, 2025 to mdoffice@honolulu.gov. So we've also been having a hard time finding candidates for that commission. But it's a super important commission. So if you know of anyone, please let them know to apply. Okay. So for departmental issues, follow up from the Department of Parks and Recreation. They asked, the previous meeting, you asked if a summit meeting can be scheduled to have HPD, HFD, Honolulu Police, Honolulu Fire, Department of Parks and Recreation, and DLNR as needed to focus on Waikane. And the Department of Parks and Recreation would be willing to participate in a future meeting with other agencies about illegal activity on city parks, city and park properties. So please let us know when and where the meeting will take place, and they'll be happy to join. From ENV, oh, sorry. They're postponing that. They didn't get back to us this month. And then the following 3 follow-up responses actually was sent from the Department of Facilities Maintenance in July of 2024, but it wasn't discovered until now. So these were unanswered items from June of 2024 that we're reporting on now. So the next 3 follow-up responses is after the fact, but if it's still an issue, then please let me know after this. From the Department of Facilities Maintenance, can the sidewalks on Kamehameha Highway starting from Haiku Road be cleaned? The response was Kamehameha Highway sidewalk area in the vicinity of Haiku Road were cleaned of overgrowth and weeds the last week of June 2024. But I'll hold for your comments, see if there needs to be cleaning again. Kea Boat Harbor to Heia State Park on Kamehameha Highway, a walkthrough request. The Department of Facilities Maintenance Division of Road Maintenance, Stored Property Branch, and the state's Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Boating and Ocean Recreation conducted a joint agency enforcement cleanup of the Heia Kea Boat Harbor on Friday, May 3rd, 2024. Sorry, after that, and outreach services have been notified. The request for new sidewalk project for the pier entrance to the bus stop is being reviewed as a possible bus access improvement project. Likely the project, if implemented, would be through a capital improvement project by other city agencies. And finally, the walking path paved shoulder for 47-419 Ohui Manu Place. The response was the shoulder area fronting 47-419 Ohui Manu Place is an unimproved sidewalk area that is the maintenance responsibility of the abutting property owner. Construction of sidewalk improvements could be considered as part of an improvement district that would improve not only the area fronting that residence, but also other unimproved sidewalk areas along Ohui Manu Place. If determined to be supported by other property owners along Ohui Manu Place, a capital improvement project can be proposed by the council member. Sorry, that was a lot, but if you have any questions.
Board members in person, Auntie Rocky.
For the last 40,000 years, we've been asking for a sidewalk from across from the Hiakia Small Boat Harbor to the bus stop. Has not yet been, for years, has not been put in there. This is pattern season again. The kids dash across. They run. You know, they're going to wait for somebody to get killed and then they're going to put a crosswalk in. I mean, this is like over a decade we've been asking for a crosswalk. That's a city highway.
Uncle Cliff.
Yeah, going back to that sidewalk from Haiku to Heia Pier. Sidewalk, I don't know how the city would claim that's a sidewalk. Because people walk on, but it's like it's not even maintained. The guy with a wheelchair get hard time going on there because number one, there's no city workers to clean it. They all, most of them come from Wamanalo City. That's why at one meeting I said, where's all the workers at the Pulau Pocos, yeah. If you go in there, only bottled water supply workers there, but there's no road crew there. Nothing. I don't know if they want to take care of Wamanalo, Kailua. This is in fact, even the roads are, it's a resurface the road. The road's giving up already. So, like when they resurface the road, I don't know if the city have inspectors go out and check. All they do is just, come on, let's go lunch. And that's an old story, but it's still in the system. Okay.
Wow.
If I
Go
can
ahead,
add
Johnny.
to that. Yeah, so another thing was just last week, there was yeah, it was last week. There was a car accident on the Long Bridge. The road got shut down. All the traffic got diverted around to
Johnny, I lost your audio. You still there?
on site. And apparently what happened was somebody was coming around the turn by the bridge and couldn't see the guardrail because the California grass. And they're not from this area, so they didn't know, and they clipped the guardrail, and that's how it happened. And that's like another one of those issues is like you see when you're driving through that area there from the Long Bridge to the boat harbor, especially like people are walking on the road, and it's not just because like they don't care about traffic. Like some of the homeless out here don't care about traffic, but you see like runners, you see people that like I know, like Miss German, she cleans up the road. She walks from her house over here on Iu and or Lulani all the way down there, and she picks up rubbish as she's walking. And I see her walking on the road, and she's just a little old lady. And it's because of what was just told was like there are no actual sidewalks. Like maybe a bike tire can run on what is meant to be the sidewalk, but besides that, like it's pretty bad. And then like Auntie Rocky said, we are going back into paddling season, and it seems like every time we make this request, they go in there real fast and they cut what we brought to the attention instead of cutting it all and like figuring out a way to keep it down. Like like there's ways that you can suppress that growth, like with weed mat and stuff like that. Like you don't have to use chemicals. There's other natural ways that you can suppress the growth of that stuff, but it just seems like they just get told to do this, and then that's when the road crew, Clifford was saying, doesn't exist out of nowhere, and then they're working for that day, and then it's like 6 months later they do it again. And I think that's
Johnny.
the issue that the community is having. But that's
Johnny
all.
and Auntie Rocky and
Yeah.
Uncle Cliff, can I just ask, we're asking for three things then. We want a sidewalk, crosswalk, raised crosswalk at the bus stop for the kids crossing into the pier. That's one. That's number one. We want
Yeah.
the sidewalk coming around the bend to be resurfaced. Is that my understanding?
And
Did I get that?
like cleared, and like
Cleared,
cleared, like
just
making
cleared.
it an actual sidewalk, because it's just always runoff. It's constant runoff.
Okay, so we're
on it.
looking for two things. We're looking for a raised crosswalk for our kids to be safe coming around and also slowing traffic because a lot of people that are not from here will come around real quick. And then also the California grass to be maintained on the Long Bridge and the bend coming around where the sidewalk starts on the Malka side, right across from, what, I'm drawing a blank. Right,
So
okay,
it's-
right. across from
It's on the
Boat Harbor.
Kahalu'u side. It's like on the. It starts from like. It actually starts from right there at the entrance to Kakoivi, the California grass issue, and it starts
Okay.
there on that side, and then it goes to across the bridge, and it runs all the way down to the pier. Like if you just drive down there on the ocean side, like you can't even see the
Yeah.
ocean anymore. Yeah.
It's hard to see if you're not from here. If you need someone to walk you through there, Johnny or myself, we won't have the kupuna
Yeah.
do that. But that's, I guess that's the
Yeah,
two
you can
things
call.
we're looking
Yeah,
for
you
there.
can
Maybe
hit me up.
Space.
I think that
I'll
would
take
be
a walk.
helpful. I'm
Yeah.
from Waimanalo.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd
Yeah.
be more than
Yeah.
willing to.
Just, yeah, if you
Yeah.
could just bring it to Mary.
I'd be down for a walkthrough.
Auntie Rocky.
On a positive note, no, not to be negative. Years ago, I know because my uncle was the road gang foreman for the city. They used to dig out the grass by the Hiaki on the bridge. if someone riding with me just mentioned it in my car, remember when they used to dig the grass out? Now you see the weeds are growing on the bridge itself. But Keone's right. You know, the visibility, can't see it. And Kako'iwi has been cleaning the sidewalks all the way up to the Hia State Park themselves, which is the city's job, but that's okay. It's a Kako thing. We got to do it together. And the suggestion to the city, maybe they should start like they did before. There was a program called SCET. SCET meant city and state and city employment training. This was SCET. Get maybe another program like that, because I know there's funding for stuff like that, and get them working on maybe clearing off our sidewalks, because we need that. The visibility is bad. There's so many accidents happening right by that bridge. Two Mucky Man corners by the bridge and the corner on the end of Hiakia stretch coming into Kahalu'u. And yes, we do need the sidewalks. We need the lining painted again. Doesn't have to be a raised sidewalk, but a sidewalk needs to be done. Maybe a blinking light there too, because sometimes the paddlers, they get finished late in the evening and they're catching the bus and it's already getting dark and it's dangerous. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Tiraki. Board members, does anybody have anything from mayor's office that is not sidewalk related to Heiakea?
Okay, this is with raised
Okay, go real
sidewalk.
fast, real fast. Uncle Cliff, real
Raised
fast.
sidewalk.
1 minute.
Can they do something more feasible? Is spending taxpayers' money? Because they put one right down here that does not work. It doesn't work. It looks good, but it doesn't work, period. So I don't know how much the state would put in would do that raised crosswalk.
Yeah.
It doesn't even work.
Okay.
Because
I'm
on
going to-
Kahalu'u, they redid it second time around. I think something even third.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Antiraki, Uncle Cliff. Go on, Antiraki.
It's another concern is that there's a chronic encampment and it's getting bigger and bigger in city property. I brought it up to the city parks guy, and nothing really has been done recently. And I mean, they're multiplying and they're spooky. I know when I talked with the police department, talked to one of the guys, I know that one person raped his own sister, told him not to be around there. He's still around, coming around, close to the canoe club guys. I see him all the time going to the state park. But these are the things that has to be addressed, because it is getting bigger, it is getting spooky, and I see new people in the community that we don't know who's homeless and encampment is going into the city property. Kako'iwi right now is gonna fence off theirs. They're making the road go all the way up into the city property. Want to work with the city because they own half of that hillside by across State Park. But the city really needs to look into that. We can't ignore it anymore. Mahalo.
Thanks, Antiraki. Board members online, anything to add? Uncle John?
Yeah, Jesse, thanks. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we got you.
Yeah, thanks. I logged out for a second inadvertently, but went back to the discussion about Heiakea and, you know, from not only Heiakea, but going around the corner to Heiauli all the way to Kako'iwi. I've said in the past, and I'll say it again, the state and the county need to collaborate on the equipment that they use. The state has an articulated mower, meaning a mower off the side of a tractor, where they can drive along the road and they can mow. Most of our highways are state highways, yeah, except for the stretch from Hygienic Store to Haiku Road, which is county. And I've said before, and I'll say it again, I think that should be a state highway. There are far more state interests in a highway, but never mind whose jurisdiction it is. If equipment were shared, then the mowing that needs to happen all along the highway from Hygienic to Haiku, especially with this guinea grass that has just exploded, very invasive, that would help a lot. That would free up manpower to do some of the things like Rocky talked about, you know, and Clifford folks digging out some of the clumps of those grass. But you got to have the right equipment. You got to arm people with the right equipment to do the job right. The other thing I want to raise is that I'm pretty certain that there is an open project that is looking at the whole stretch of Kamehameha Highway fronting Heiakea Valley. And I think we should hear about that project, its status, hear from the consultants. We need to know about it. It's a big project. But I think that could also help us with a lot of these related issues, smaller issues. One other thing I want to add is just beyond, and this is something that never got addressed back when Jiro was representing the city, but just beyond Heiake, as you come around towards Kahalu'u, as you make that turn, there's a section there where there's no guardrail, and it's as people are making the turn, and that needs to have a guardrail. And I sent all the information to Jiro between this pole and that pole. If you could please take a look back at that issue too, because that also got dropped. And the last thing is, so if Matt Wyer's office needs to be the one asking for a
Uncle
CIP
John,
project,
let me just time you out real fast because Matt Wire's here, so you'll get that opportunity.
but I want to
For your
express it.
request,
But I
he's
want,
here, but you are not here. But I do
Yes.
want to ask you to forward that email that you sent to Jiro over to Regina because I don't know that she's going to have access to Jiro's previous records. So if you want her to take a look at that, please email that to her. Go ahead and finish off.
Okay, I'll take a look at that and I'll see if I can find it and send it forward. But it is important for the city administration. We can go to Matt, but Matt's going to go to city administration anyway with the Huimanu Place issue. That's a pretty heavily trafficked area. A lot of kids come down that road, and kids and adults walking towards the bus stop, coming off of a Huimanu Road, taking it right onto a Huimanu Place. This is an issue that Maka Bastaris brought up. And Border Water Supply has meters in the middle of that sidewalk. So it seems like a good opportunity to do some collaboration. Let's fund it. We need a safe sidewalk right there. Thanks.
Well, Uncle John. Regina, I just want to add one more sentiment is that I don't want to brag, but I do have an exquisite community of people who have been able to do a lot of things just by volunteering. And if they could get permissions, I'm sure we could come up with a community city collaboration to take care of these things that are important to our community.
Yeah, and I think we should set up for sure so
Sounds
that
good.
I can have a better idea.
I'll follow up with you on
See
email.
if there's anyone else that we can bring along.
Sounds good. Thanks so much. Anybody else, community in person or online for the mayor's office? Mahalo, Regina. Moving on in our agenda to Councilmember Esther Kiaina. Hi, Esther.
Aloha and good evening, everyone. Can you guys hear me? Nice to see everybody. I know I haven't been before the board for a couple of months. Just as well, many of you know, 5 out of the 9 members were reelected, including myself. So we recently started our newest term on January 2nd. And for myself, I am the chair of the zoning committee and vice chair of public safety. And that actually, the latter was a committee I've always wanted to be on, and I just was never afforded the opportunity. So I'm excited for that. As a wrap up to measures that I was working on under the planning committee, and I know that many members are following as well, Bill 64 was enacted into law by Mayor Blangiardi on January 3rd. And that, of course, that's related to the land use ordinance. And a resolution which directs the city council to convene the Agricultural Development Task Force was adopted by the Food Council on December 11th. So we're hoping to stand up a 9-member task force within the next couple of months. And so if anybody is interested, you can contact either myself or Councilmember Wire. Going back to public safety, as clearly for not just our community, but also for county and state policymakers, a priority would be to see what we could do in light of the tragedy on New Year's Eve relating to aerial fireworks. We are all looking at ways to see how we could help both legislatively as well as enforcement. So first off, let me just say that I introduced Bill 7, 2024 today with the chair of public safety, Val Okimoto. And what we did was we looked at the ordinance on the book to see what we can strengthen. So the bill increases the penalties for the illegal possession, use, sale, or exploding of 25 pounds or more of aerial fireworks from a misdemeanor under current city law, and 1 year jail maximum to a Class C felony, 5 years maximum jail time. And from the current range of penalties from 250 to 2,000, we increased it from 1,000 to 10,000. With regard to jail time, we're just comporting with aligning with the state law. We may be dinged by legal beagles that we have no authority to strengthen the penalties beyond state law, which is $5,000. I welcome the dialogue, however. And I also, so we plan on having a hearing if anybody's interested on Thursday, January 16th at 1 o'clock. We will also be having an informational briefing where we, of course, will be inviting HPD, HFD, and the prosecutor's office to talk about the enforcement of current laws on the books. And again, we would welcome the community's input on that. And that's my report, Chair.
Mahalo, Councilmember Kia Aina. Board members in person, anything for Councilmember? Oh, great.
So I wanted to commend you for your wonderful way that you handled that ignorant woman who accused the Hawaiian language as being dead. So keep it going. These people are unbelievable. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Mahalo, Esther. Any other board members in person? Board members online, Uncle John?
Yeah. When is the briefing that you mentioned with HPD and so on? Is that the 16th also?
Thursday, yeah, Thursday, January 16th at 1 o'clock.
Okay, so that's both a hearing and a briefing.
Yes, both a hearing on the bill itself, as well as we're going to have an informational briefing talking about enforcement, because I think we all agree that it is enforcement, but if the enforcement tools currently are insufficient, then we need to look at ways to strengthen their enforcement tools, but we need guidance from HPD, HFD, as well as the prosecutor's office. For me, increasing penalties, whether it be jail time or the fees, we need to send a message. This is not a game.
Yeah.
And when I looked at the current ordinance, and it was a measly 1 year jail time misdemeanor under city law, and then our current maximum penalty is $2,000. I'm sorry. What message are we sending, right?
Right. Right.
Therein lies part of the problem, and it's just a wake-up call for all of us collectively to make sure that we are addressing the issue collectively at the county, state, and community level.
Yeah. Can I just add one real quick thing? Is that I was listening to HPR the other morning. Dr. Ireland and a gentleman from the fire department were there, kind of debriefing the whole situation. And what really jumped out at me, I mean, along with just the tragedy and so on, but all of the complexity of responding for first responders, not being able to get vehicles, fire truck, ambulance, and so on, into those lanes because of the way parking is and so on. I think this needs to be really looked hard at by Department of Planning and Permitting. You know, as we come up against events like New Year's and so on, those things need to be looked at. I have a nephew who lives in Kapolei on Hawaiian homeland. You can only get one car down the road, either going one way or the other, because everybody's parking on the roadway. So we have to look at those things. It's very complex. This issue needs to be looked at. I would highly encourage everyone to go listen to the HPR discussion there. Very, very complicated, all of the implications. So yeah, thanks.
John, you actually raise a good point, and I would say that one of the reasons I'm excited to be on the committee is because I'm also interested in getting a status report on the overall city mitigation strategy. You know, some of the challenges that we face with regard to protecting our communities doesn't just happen during New Year's or right? Because in the case of Maui in Lahaina, and I'm sure some of you have gone in there, the area where the most deaths occurred was because it was clogged to begin with, because the roads were too narrow. And even as they tried to escape with their cars, they were unable to. And so I'm looking forward to the city looking at these issues, because it also includes our exit strategy for roadways. And we're seeing that in the Palisades fire right now.
Right.
where the fire trucks, they have to bulldoze to the cars that people left just to go and attend to the fire. So very scary time in the world right now.
Exactly.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thanks, Esther. Yeah.
Mahalo, Esther. I'm sure someone already did, but did we send that information for the info briefing and the hearing to our state legislators since they will be in session here shortly soon?
Yes, I will. And I have been in contact. I will also follow up with the House chair, but I was in contact with the state chair of public safety, Senator Elefante, and I will be briefing the health one as well. Thank you, actually, as for the follow up. Chair.
Mahalo, Esther. Board members online, anything else for Councilmember Kiaina? Community in person. Linda, now's the time. If you have something, please come to the microphone. Oh, of the info briefing? Oh, sorry. Where is the hearing? Is it at Honolulu Hale, Esther?
Yes, it's going to be in the council on the second floor. And I don't believe that the hearing itself would be very long. So if you can come, what I will do, I will work with Councilmember Wire's office. He is also on the committee. We will make sure to get out, once we have the agenda and everything, we will get out an action alert to you to share to all of the communities. And I'm going to do that for all of the neighborhood boards along the Windward side.
Mahalo, Esther. Any community members online for Councilmember Kiaina? Mahalo for being with us. Oh, sorry, Auntie Rocky, didn't see you there. Auntie Rocky, go ahead.
First of all, haole makahikio, Esther and mahalo for your good work. Is this meeting going to be virtually? Is it going to be a Zoom hybrid? Because I'd like to get on it, but
Yes, you can also do that. Yes. Yes, the
Okay.
answer is yes.
mahalo.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, moving on. Thank you, Esther. To Councilmember Matt Wire.
Aloha board community, everyone online. Wanted to first just express my sympathy and aloha to the family of Jeffrey Fiala, the firefighter we recently lost. And of course, those we lost on New Year's Eve as well due to the firework explosion. Just wanted to highlight this Saturday from 9 to 3 p.m. There'll be a amnesty program for anyone that wants to turn in unmodified fireworks. No questions asked. That's at Aloha Stadium. So 9 to 3, if you know anyone or even have some in your home from someone else in your home, you can put it in a box in your trunk, and then everyone can pull up at gate 4, and then the HFD, the city co-sponsors along with the state will take it out and deal with it. So just wanted to encourage folks to take the opportunity. We've been talking to our city and state partners about maybe expanding amnesty programs, and appreciate Councilmember Kiaina's bill, and definitely will be supportive and open to conversation and input from the community. We did disseminate our letter, and also Chelsea will drop it into the WebEx along with our website where folks can sign up for our e-newsletter, which is helpful for getting updates from our office. And then also we'll be dropping in the chat a Google Doc link to one of the questions that came up at the last board regarding the wastewater, the sewer plan. I disseminated 2 copies. It's kind of long, so I didn't bring a bunch of copies. It's about 10 pages. So we'll have an e-copy available also. But just regarding the funding and the budget for that, specifically, as we all know, there's a cesspool, given the state mandate concerns about cesspool conversion. And so right now, Environmental Services is looking at multiple alternatives. So they don't have a set plan or a set system yet. And they're going to continue to do input throughout this year, 2025. That includes looking at like a gravity system, pressurized system, different ways that they can meet the needs of the community. The handout in the chat, and then also that I disseminated, has some maps that shows kind of the layout of potential proposed lines. But again, nothing is set in stone. And just along those lines, one issue we're working on and talking to our council attorneys with, and I have an upcoming meeting with the Mayor's Office of Climate Change Sustainability and Resilience, is looking at the recent resilience fund that voters just passed, which essentially creates a fund that'll take 0.5% of all the revenue that the city takes in and use it for resilience matters, right? Making us safe. And one of the things we've contemplated is whether or not we could use that to stand up a grant program. I know the state's done grant programs for cesspool conversion, and would just be a mechanism, another tool that folks could use. Of course, understanding, you know, as folks seek to comply with that state mandate, I know that there's also conversations at the legislature about maybe how to adjust the rules, and definitely will be following that. But in terms of ways the city can support, that's just one item we're looking at in addition to the tax credit that we already have for folks that want to do that conversion. And just to note, at the end of our newsletter, we also just pulled some of the items out of the budget that specifically relate to the area, so folks can look at that as well. And of course, happy to take input on projects we can be putting in going forward as well. I just wanted to note, I know one of the other questions that came up at the last meeting was a landfill. And so happy to answer any questions. I could talk about that the whole meeting. So I'll be brief, but we did put in our newsletter kind of an overview of where we are and the conversation that's going on. We did co-introduce with Councilmember Cordero, who represents Red Hill, Resolution 25003, which would just support the city's longstanding position of not having a landfill over our drinking water, right? That was a resolution actually initially passed in 2003, introduced by then Councilmember Mike Gabbard. And of course, there was a recent info briefing at the legislature on the matter where Environmental Services and Board of Water Supply has shared their opinion. Our opinion, our office's opinion, is the Board of Water Supply has already spoken on the matter. You know, they issued their more recent December 17th, 2024 letter after Mayor made the announcement. But of course, during the prior process in 2022, they already rejected all of the sites within the no pass zone. And so our position would be that the time for the administration to appeal that has already passed. And of course, we're open to community conversations about where is appropriate to put a landfill. I don't think it's something our office wants to dictate or tell the community, but just wanted to kind of keep you up to date on the conversations that we've been having. Of course, you know, I think a big part of that conversation is also just reducing the rubbish and trash that we're producing. And we're grateful that the administration was supportive of the bill we introduced and passed last year to increase what can go into that green bin that some folks have. I know not everybody does, but to increase the composting, to not just be green waste, but also food waste, which is, you know, something that's pretty similar to green waste, right? And then also those manufactured compostables. So of course, we're working with the state on that as well, because there's permitting issues and some questions about PFAS that are in manufactured compostables, and how do we ensure that that product is something that's clean and can be composted and put back into the environment. And then wanted to also just note, so our committees, we're still chairing housing sustainability. We now have economy in our committee and health. And so that'll be now generally 1 p.m. on Tuesday during committee week. And so next Tuesday, 1 p.m., we'll be hearing the resolution 25003 relating to not placing a landfill over the aquifer. And we'll also be having an info briefing with Board of Water Supply. So they'll kind of walk through some of the concerns that they have. I'll just highlight, we also have Bill 64, 2024. So not, I know there's each year the numbers start over. So not the LUO Bill 64, but Bill 2024-64, which would be creating down payment loan assistance program for folks that are first-time home buyers. Right now, the city has a program that's HUD funded, so funded through federal grants, but that's income restricted, and it doesn't meet all the needs of our community, because when you say we still have working families, say a firefighter and a teacher that maybe have a couple kids and fall right outside that income limit and can't access the programs that the city has. And so to date, the Department of Community Services has expressed interest and a willingness to set up a program. And so we'll be working with them on that and also continuing to move that bill forward. Appreciate opportunity to be here today and welcome any questions.
Board members in person. Uncle Rick and Auntie Rocky.
Thanks for coming, Matt. Really appreciate you
course.
being in person. Couple of things, whole bunch of things. We really would like to have you come out and talk to a whole bunch of us community leaders about what's going on and in the community, other things. Couple of things in the forefront in terms of the landfill. I think I put in the chat during the meeting that you hosted, as well as Waimanalo Gulch, the city's landfill sunsetting in that particular site closing down. Also will close down is the one up at Lualua, the private landfill that's run by is it
PVT.
PVT.
Yeah.
And once that goes, I mean, that's just gonna that's just as much volume almost as the main landfill, because people fixing their houses, you got construction, demolition waste, new houses, all the waste that comes along with that. There's certainly some recycling efforts that could be done in that regard, but nonetheless, it just presents the city with a huge problem. I was talking to a guy on the Big Island who made a suggestion that perhaps we should be looking at doing a H-Power. H-Power to me was always the little engine that could. Everybody berated it, but it's chugged along over the years. And perhaps if one was built in, say, Fly High, then that's an alternative site. Most of the time, the trade winds blow and there's appropriate scrubbers to handle the emissions and so forth. But that might be one alternative. I don't think it's wise or prudent of us to be sending our garbage and refuse elsewhere. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that I think we sort of left it sort of to lie for a while, is the Kahalu'u flood lagoon. And I think a number of us feel that it's really not prudent to dredge it, because then where do you take the dredge spoils and so forth? But coupled with the maintenance of that lagoon is all of the mangrove that's starting to grow at the mouth of Waihe'i Stream down there. You can see the sandbar just opposite where the roundabout is, and all that mangrove coming up. And if we let that go any longer, it's going to be a big problem, and it's going to present a lot of flooding. That is, as Brother John Rapun has always said, that's still an open project with the city, state, NRCS. There's some folks like Mike Tulang, who actually was responsible for designing that original flood lagoon. And John and I have talked to him, and he's since sort of changed his mind on purpose and that kind of thing. And it'd be nice to have him. He lives in Hilo. Have him come to Honolulu, and let's convene a meeting to talk about ways that we can handle this whole situation. Good to do. Mahalo.
Appreciate that. If you are, we can touch base after too. You or John have his contact. Happy to reach out to Mike. And this applies across the board. Happy to schedule meetings to come out in the community, sit down, talk story at anyone's home or anywhere. So yeah, happy to do that. Mahalo.
There's some good ideas that I heard tonight. We had a discussion on that too, the aha moku. Maybe we went back to ancient times. Each moku, each ahapoa take care of their own opala, instead of dropping everybody's opala in one district. We have 6 mokus on the island of Oahu. Every island has different mokus. If you can maybe talk about it, like Rick talked about recycling centers, maybe each moku have their own recycling center and, dispose of their own opala instead of dumping it all Wa'anai or one area. Because, we don't want that. We want our water stuff, and we don't want any more. Nobody wants it in the backyard. But if everybody took care of their own opala, that might work. There's something that might be worth looking into. Everything is getting modern nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to the old times. Everybody take care of their own aqua, their own moku.
No, that's 100%. It's amazing when we look at past practices, just how far we've come and how much knowledge there was in terms of being more sustainable and taking care of our community. So definitely agree 100%. I think that, like you said, looking at ways we can ensure that the burden is kind of shared and carried by everybody is really important. I'll note, just kind of following up on the conversation, I think recycling our ash is something else the city's been looking at, maybe how that can be incorporated into construction waste. But really appreciate the insight.
Sorry, that's one thing. Councilmember. I am sure there's probably regulations against this for a reason, but no scavenging. I feel like there are people that do know how to fix things and we could actually upcycle a lot of things. Not sure what that looks like moving forward, but I feel like you could stand to reduce a lot of waste that way as well. Uncle Cliff, then I'll go to Keone and Uncle John.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, let's get back to this pond here. That pond haven't been touched for many years, and it's full of trash. I mean, you got trees inside there. If you go now it's low tide, but I don't think the city never did go clean anything. Now, if you go in, if now they have manpower, or if you want a machine, you can pull it. A couple trees sticking out of the mud now, because now it's low tide. The paddle is paddling in there now between the branches. I mean, it's sight for sore eyes. At least if they can come and show face, what little face they have, at least come around, do something in the community.
Mahalo, Uncle Cliff. I believe that Councilmember Wyer's office and Senator Awa's office are doing a collaboration to address some of these issues. So why don't we go to our board members online and then we can discuss all of that again further. Keone?
Yeah, so I was just gonna add in like some suggestions about the whole trash issue. Like one is like if you look at countries like Singapore, for example, like their recycling efforts, even their trash collection efforts, it's like they collect all the trash in the entire country in one day. Like, and then they recycle so much of their trash, like even to the point where like the plastics, they treat it in a specific way and then they use it to rebuild their roads. And their roads end up lasting longer than the asphalt roads that we use here in like this rain-stricken area that we live in, right? So like that could be one thing to look at, is like look at what these other countries who have been so successful in doing this and take the cues from them, take what you can from them, build on that. And then another thing, I was, it was a few years back, I was told about this system that this guy had built, and he had one set up over in Barber's Point, like one of his prototypes, where you could literally take any type of trash, you put it inside of this silo, it like cooks it, and the two byproducts after it's done being processed are biochar, which can be used for agricultural purposes, and biodiesel. And that's another thing, like if we were to look into systems like that, and what Auntie Rocky was saying, where each moku is responsible for their own trash collection and stuff like that, and we had systems like that in place in each moku, we could benefit from that. Like the recycling effort would be a lot simpler. And just those two suggestions, like look at what Singapore is doing, like really look at it, because I've been there and it's clean. Like it is clean. They don't let people chew gum on the street. They don't, like, there's no rubbish. It's a beautiful place. And it's because they have that system in mind, and they're actually like doing it. They're not constantly having meetings and meetings and meetings talking about it. They said, you know what, we're gonna do this, and they did it, and they figured out the solution in their country. And I'm almost positive their country is bigger than Hawaii is as a whole. So if they can do it on that scale, I'm sure we could figure out a way to duplicate it here. So
Mahalo.
that's just all I wanted to say.
Mahalo, Keone.
Thank
Uncle
you for your time.
John, and then Parker.
Great. I like what I'm hearing. Thanks, Keone. Those are great ideas. I was going to say we need to look afar. We got to look for solutions not within this country, but in other countries and other places, other island groups. I think it'd be really, really helpful. Some terminology, Matt, that I think is really important with respect to the flood control lagoon. What we've talked about, folks like Rick and Amy Lorson and myself and others, we've talked about the idea of creating a managed wetland. And what will happen with a managed wetland instead of the sediment basin there is we're going to end up turning that lagoon into the filter that we so desperately need to keep sediment and toxins and so on from going out into nearshore waters and so on. Speaking of which, in terms of the wastewater issue, I mean the waste issue in Wahiawa, thank you for holding the line. Right from the get-go, as soon as you speaking about this, putting something over an aquifer. It reminded me of arguments, discussions we had back in the 70s and the 80s about the impact of pineapple and sugar and military industrial complex on the aquifers. And, you know, sad to say, John Mink, Patsy Mink's husband, he was like the go-to um, guy, you know, for anything having to do with water back in the day. And he spent decades assuring us that nothing would ever get down into the aquifer. Well, heptachlor tells you yes, it did, and it did badly. So we have to hold the line on that. We absolutely have to hold the line. So thanks for doing that. And then the last really important thing that I'm really concerned about, we're all aware 2050 cesspools have to be gone, and we're all talking about conversion. The big question still, we can't put this onto individuals to figure out on their own. This has to be something where we look at the systems that are available. And again, like Keone says, we got to be looking at other places. How do other places handle sewage? The big question is conversion to what? You can't just convert from a cesspool to a seepage pit and so on. So before we get to giving out tax write-offs or tax benefits or whatever to people who convert, we need to know to convert to what. Where can people tie into the sewer lines that already exist, maybe for our area, parts of Ahuimanu that might be added to what goes out to Mokapu outfall? But yeah, the big question is convert to what? So let's have some discussions at a very high level about that, where the community can be a part of the discussion. 2050 is still enough time away where bring in the experts to talk. Anyway, thanks. Happy New Year.
Oh, good job. Chair. Chair, I don't have audio for you.
There we go. Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. No, mahalo, council member. Thanks for coming out. I did have a question regarding the cesspool conversions. What, if any, what efforts of the city is the city making to ensure the mitigation of iwi kupuna, striking iwi kupuna throughout that process, and then, in the event, and, sad to say, eventually when that does happen, what processes is the city looking at? I know SHPD and everything is really out of that jurisdiction, but if there are cesspools in the county, there are EV in the county, right? So it's like, how is the city working on that?
Yeah, no, I appreciate that question. I know the council recently, about a year and a half ago, I think it is, time's been flying by, enacted the Historic Preservation Commission, spearheaded by Councilmember Kia Aina. And I think that's one way that the city's been attempting to be more proactive in terms of playing a role. Like you said, I think the state has a lot of things it's working through for a variety of reasons. So without getting into those, with SHPD, I know that with the city having this additional commission, I think it's a way that we can provide an additional safeguard to ensure that there's oversight. And of course, working and ensuring that we're fully staffing the Department of Planning and Permitting, because a lot of them are doing the reviews, right? And also ensuring that they have the training, which based on the conversations we've had most recently with the main planners over there, they're looking at and consistently being trained in the updated environmental laws, cultural and historical laws. And so I think you bring up some good questions in the sense that we all have a role in it, even though sometimes the state maybe has more jurisdiction or the feds do. And of course, open to ideas about ways we can improve the process for the community.
Mahalo.
Okay, mahalo, board members. Community in person, anything for Councilmember Wire? Community online, anything for Councilmember Wire? Seeing no hands. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Moving on to Board of Water Supply. Barry, are you with us online? Okay, if Barry comes on, we'll come back to Barry. Moving on to Gov's office. Thank you so much for being with us.
Aloha, Katie Lambert, Governor's representative. On his behalf, sharing his governor's message from the governor's newsletter. Happy New Year. December marked 2 years since I had the honor of stepping into the role of governor, and my heart is overflowing with gratitude for the opportunity to serve the people of Hawaii. Together, we have been working to address some of Hawaii's most pressing challenges, from recovering the Maui wildfires to addressing the high cost of living, showcasing the community's immense strengths. Over these 2 years, we have prioritized building affordable housing, lowering the cost of living, expanding healthcare access, and investing in sustainable energy in our education system. Each of these initiatives aims to create a stronger and more resilient Hawaii, ensuring that our keiki can thrive and call this beautiful place home for generations to come. None of this would have been possible without my administration's team of action-oriented leaders or our partners in the legislature who are committed to turning our vision into tangible progress for our state. As we look ahead, I'm excited to reconvene with our colleagues in the Hawaii State Legislature to collaborate on proposals that will continue to tackle the most pressing issues facing our communities. Mahalo to all of you for your trust and partnership on this journey. Here's to continuing to build a brighter future for our island home together. And with regard to the newsletter this afternoon, I have to follow up with Web's office. The website didn't have the usual links to download the PDF. So I think what was in the Google Drive is just what is available or what was available this afternoon. So I'll follow up and provide Rachel with when it's available, the PDF. I don't have anything to follow up from the last meeting. There was an issue related to cesspools actually, but I believe because there was so much information, it was requested that it be in writing, and I didn't receive anything. So if I get anything, then I would be very happy to work on that for you.
Mahalo, Katie. Board members in person, anything for Gov's office? Rocky.
Yes, because I want to bring this up again because I brought it up before and I did also bring it up to the governor's office. And it has to do with parking because we go to testify on hearings. I go to the state capitol. I go to the Department of Land and Natural Resources. I don't go to the city anymore because there's no parking. There's one handicap parking in the front. The parking the city has is like a block away. Because of course, a former mayor took the parking away from the center between the Department of Land and Natural Resources office and the city hall. Maybe we need to look back, both the governor and the mayor, look back into putting back that parking lot. Because of the fact, the parking that you guys that the state has needs to be fixed. I was at a hearing just 2 weeks ago at the Department of Land and Natural Resources. We talked about it. Your meter, you put your card in, it's 2-hour parking. You try to do the 4-hour parking, it doesn't work. So every 2 hours, you have to go back and use your card. I was there 9 hours. I was not heard. But after 3 times my card went in, the bank won't take it because it's in question. How many times are you using your card? They fixed the one at the state capitol. They didn't fix the other one. And it's not fair to the community. And this all comes under DAGs. We want to support the community. We want to support the state. We go there and, they ask us, can you give your testimony in person or, give a testimony? We would support it if we don't stop getting tickets. I was at the DLNR meeting during a break. I was talking to a friend, Wayne Tanaka, and we discussed it. Wayne was involved heavily in the water issue with Maui and everything. He went back to check his meter and he got the ticket. And that was not fair. I think that is looking around, they know, because we try to get back. And every 2 hours trying to get back to the parking is not helping. When I got out of there, actually, I had somebody with me lucky. By 5 o'clock or 4:30, they locked the DLNR doors to go back down into the garage. So from the hearing, you got to go all the way around the building to feed your meter. And that's not fair. And to get back to your car, you got to go around the building again to get back to your car. The governor got to fix it. It's the governor's duty to fix it with these parking facilities. Even the people that work there, they've been getting tickets because I have friends that work for the state. I feel sorry for all of the employees. And in fact, it's another thing too. The palace ground. The palace ground is taken by all of the department workers. I see you need the parking, but you get 10 parking for the tourists or anybody that's coming to visit the palace. We're the only palace in the whole United States, and that's how they treat our palace. That's degrading to us. Gotta fix it. Put the parking back where it belongs and then stop taking up all of the palace grounds and stop ripping off the people. Mahalo.
Rocky. Uncle Cliff.
Yeah, question. It's for us, it's Department of Land, not Department of Land, Hawaiian Homes. The land that the federal, the Navy passed on to the state. That was what, 400 acres? I don't know, somewhere around there. But when I heard that the Navy gonna give back the land with the deed, that questioned me. How did the Navy get that land with deed? That is, the state no own no land. There's all ceded land. Kahalu'u. When that thing came up, I said, now how can the Navy give back the land to the state with the deed? And on top of that, it's all contaminated. And any land that the military has is all contaminated. I've been there, I've seen that, and in fact, when they said where the area was, I said, oh, I know, because the Navy, that's why they drop all the trash in. I worked in the Navy over there. But then again, how can they do things like that? And like this, the military like renew the leases? I'm not for that. I want them out of here. Because number one, the military didn't show no good faith in anything that they did. Nothing. All the land they damaged, they never finished the work. Nothing complete. Everything is FO and they left it like that.
Mahalo, Uncle Cliff. Board members online, anything for Gov's office? Ian, go ahead.
So, aloha, Katie. I gotta apologize at my own ignorance in not emailing you directly. I did email our chair and co-chair and our NCO on November 27th with all the details regarding 49176 Kamehameha Highway.
I apologize, Ian. I literally just saw that today. I'll forward it over. Thank you.
Yeah, so in the last meeting, the request was to have it on this board agenda. It didn't make it on this agenda. I'm going to ask very clearly right now that 49176 go on our February agenda to deal with the issues regarding the idea of giving a variance to a commercial operator who may even have commercial plans for that particular address, which is right next to Hakipu'u Stream, the closest one, and the cesspool is attached to a spring next to Puakeaheau. It is of utmost importance that we address this, especially looking at the most recent numbers coming in from the Blue Water Task Force, not non-source point testing, but so high at the bottom of Hakipu'u Stream. I just, we're having all these discussions about, individuals and the struggles that they have to change from cesspools to septic systems. And we have a giant corporation with 80 houses between Ka'awa Crouching Lions and Hakipu'u Waikane. And they're being given variances that even have the option to go for more than 5 years to get reinstated the variance for another 5 years. And that's not helping us when we're letting the corporations off the hook and we're expecting the individual citizens to come out of pocket even with whatever help that they can get. So please, can we agendize this issue? Can we see if Department of Health went ahead and approved their variance and it's too late for the matter and we just got to deal with it here in Hakipu'u, but the health and wellness of our kids and everybody who comes to Kualoa Beach Park Regional Park, it's all part of it. So it's
Sorry,
just been
Ian,
really
real quick.
bad.
Could I just
So
interject
thank you so much.
since,
Please.
sorry, Ian, real quick,
um,
just since you're here and Chair is online, can you just give him a quick synopsis of what you want that to say on the agenda for February? Just a one-liner for Chair, so he can write it on the agenda next week.
Me?
Yeah, just
You
a
want a
one-liner of
one-liner?
what you want agendized, a one-liner, so Chair can make note of it to put it on.
Opposition to variance approval for 49176 Kamehameha Highway. Katie, if I could somehow get your direct email, I'd be happy to forward on this, and we can go ahead and look at it. It is regarding variance application number WW838, docket number 24 at 49176 Kamehameha Highway, opposition to approval of variance.
49716 again.
176.
17.
Yeah, it's literally the one with it's behind the ranch gate on the Mauka side of the highway, absolutely adjacent to Hakipu'u Stream, between the stream and the Puakea Heiau site, between the stream and Johnson Road, basically.
Okay, got it. And we have Katie's direct email address. So Rachel and I will forward over your email.
Please do. Perhaps I didn't request it directly, but the two things would be make sure Katie gets that one way or another, and to agendize this if there needs to be an agenda. That means the Department of Health never even got it. So yeah. Anyway, thank you.
You can just send it
Chair.
to me. I can forward it. Thanks, Ian. Board members online. Anything else for Gov's office? Seeing none. Community.
Jesse.
Oh.
Jesse, real quick, just to follow up
ahead.
on what Ian's,
Yeah.
follow up on what Ian's bringing up. Katie, is there any way that you can get wastewater division themselves to join the meeting so that questions can be direct instead of having you have to go in between? Because it's not just that one issue for that one property. It's a bigger issue. And I think it would be really helpful to have Department of Health there. Their being virtual makes it so much easier for them to participate. Mahalo.
Go ahead, Greg.
I just wanted to, this whole fireworks issue, when an unfortunate tragedy like this happens, everyone seems to jump up and down and then you say how horrible it is, but are we really asking the right questions to get to the bottom of the root cause of this? And my sense is that unless you're able to manifest all of the ocean containers that come into Hawaii, you're never going to get anywhere. And then just do a surprise check on a couple of them and make sure they're honest about what's in the containers. We got this fentanyl coming in here. We got all this fireworks. One of my questions that maybe you could look into is a lot of that stuff is all made in China. Do we get shipping containers that come directly from China, Korea, wherever to Honolulu? And to what extent is Customs and Border Patrol really looking at the contents of those containers and stuff? So I think you really got to take it apart and think widely too, because I mean it's incredulous. I mean, I look at these videos of New Year's and it's unbelievable. It's all over the whole island and it's out of control. Mahalo.
Mahalo, correct. Community in person, anything for Gov's office? Community online, anything for Gov's office? Seeing none. Mahalo, Katie. I just forwarded that email from Ian to you. Thank you. Moving on in our agenda to Senator Brenton Awa's office. Lukana, you there? I'm gonna go ahead. Kalamai Makana, we have no audio for you. Can you unmute? Sorry, Makana, we're still having trouble with your audio. Oh, maybe he had timed out and has to come back. Can you say something? Testing. No audio still. Makana, while you work on that, I'm gonna move on in the agenda and then just let me know when you're ready to go. Thank you so much. Moving on to Representative Lisa Kitagawa's office.
Hi, everyone. Happy New Year. So just a couple of updates and then I can answer questions that people might have. So our office has been working and busy. We started in the new year. I have 2 new session staff who hopefully you will meet at some point, and they may pop in, Mackenzie and Carissa. And I also have my office manager, Wendy, still with me. She's online taking notes right now. This year I have a new position at the legislature. So I'm still on the finance committee, but I am now the capital improvement projects manager. So I oversee the CIP requests for the state budget. So that's my new position within the House. We've also begun new finance informational briefings. So those have started this week and they will continue on through next week. So if you are interested in different departments, everything is online. I think I mentioned this every year, but we are on YouTube, both the House and the Senate. So you can watch any informational briefing or hearing either live, or you can go back and watch it to learn what's going on and to hear about the issues that are happening and being discussed. Opening day of the legislature is next week, Wednesday, January 15th at 10 a.m. After we do the swearing in ceremony, the offices are open around noon. So if you're in the capital area, you want to stop by, we'll have some refreshments. You can feel free to come to my office. And then we also are working on sending out our annual community survey. So we'll be sending that out hopefully in the next couple of weeks. So be on the lookout for that. We really appreciate everyone's response, and we try to figure out what might be some hot button issues that are coming up in the legislature, either because we talked about them last year or they're things that are being discussed now. And so that gives the community an opportunity to chime in, to let me know how you feel about these issues, and then to also provide additional comments or concerns that you have. And so we'll send that out. Last year we had almost 500. The year before we had a little bit over 500, which is actually really, that's a good amount for our district. So I'm really happy with that. So I just encourage you, when you get that, to please turn that in so I can know what you're thinking about for legislation. And then I can answer any questions. I know there's a lot of issues going on, and I chimed in kind of late, so I might have missed the beginning stuff, but I heard some of the things going on, questions about cesspools and fireworks. And so if you have questions, let me know, or you can always just reach out to my office. Thank you.
Mahalo. Mahalo, Rep. Kitagawa. Board members, anybody in person have anything? Interactive?
Aloha, Lisa, and Haole Makaio. Just a reminder that coming Friday, there's a land board hearing at the Department of Land and Natural Resources, and they're doing it again. They're supposed to be putting the Hia State Park out to bids again. Evidently, they're not doing that. They're supposed to be already got somebody that they hooked up to there, and they have not yet addressed the issue of the EV. Just to bring you up to date. So you might check on that this coming Friday. I'll be there, and I'm hoping that I could make the parking again. I had this past 2024, I had so many tickets at the Department of Land. It's $46 parking ticket. When you're on fixed budget, it's costly during the year.
Yeah.
Mahalo.
Thank you. Yeah, if you can, I'm not sure if I'll be able to make it, Auntie Rocky, because we have finance informational briefing all day on Friday, but I know that you'll keep me updated, and then I can reach out to DLNR too if there's questions.
Yes, I will. Mahalo.
Thank you.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Uncle John? Uncle John, I don't have audio for you. Unmute.
Okay, I think that worked. Happy New Year.
Here.
I sent you a message. I think I might have sent it by text relating to what's called the Corporate Transparency Act. And what I did is I forwarded you an article from, I think it was from Hawaii Business Magazine. And this just was something that caught my eye. This has to do with any LLCs, any limited liability corporations that you have to follow up with some kind of a beneficial ownership information report and so on. And the deadline was like January 1st. And then later I saw it was January 13th. And what was important was that if you don't do this, any LLCs, not only in Hawaii, across the nation, there's a really significant penalty, monetary penalty. So I'm wondering if you can follow up on that with your finance committee background. I sent this to Jarrett Keokololi's office as well, but it's a big concern because the information doesn't seem to be out there people like ourselves to look at. So
Who's requiring it? Like what?
the federal government. The Corporate Transparency Act took effect on January 1st, 2024, and I'm reading from the article, which will impact millions of small businesses nationwide. There's a U.S. Department of Treasury
It's called a
Financial Crimes
BOI
Enforcement
report.
Network
Sorry,
BOI
Uncle
report.
John. It's
Yeah,
called a BOI report.
yeah.
Yeah, I found out on the 31st of December and I had to fill mine out before that deadline. So like the day that I found out about it, I had to fill one out for my small business and turn it in before. uh, But like, yeah, uh, I agree with what
But,
Uncle
Yeah.
John's saying. Sorry, Uncle John.
but like, how did you get notified? Because if it's like a federal thing, I don't know. Is there like the state? Does the state
Instagram.
normally? Oh, well, but I mean, does the state normally like inform you of federal regulation, or how do you normally, if you're a small business, get notified of federal requirements?
That's a really good question. That's the question to ask is how would an LLC in Hawaii know that this federal requirement is coming at us, especially if there's a really significant penalty? So, but there have been a number of lawsuits in Texas and here and there all over that have pushed the deadline back and so on. The accountant that I spoke with, that I've worked with, Jackson Chen from Kaneohe, said, yes, January 13th. Yes, you got to do that by January 13th. I think it'd be helpful if you could help us to exactly what's required and what's going on from the state level. What, is the state looking at this concern for its own LLCs?
Okay, yeah,
But
we can work with you on it because I need to understand better what the process is for a small business and what like
Mhm.
small businesses, who you interact with, what department at the state, because then I got to figure out like who do I connect you with, right? Because I'm not familiar with
Yeah,
small business kind of info. So if we can talk about that and then figure out what department would be the best suited to try
I
to
think that'd be
provide the info.
yeah, I think that'd be really helpful. We would appreciate that into all of our legislators and council members' newsletters saying, hey, this is the roadmap, follow it, you'll be fine.
Yeah, so send me an email if you can, then we'll
Okay.
flag it. Yeah.
Okay.
Mahalo.
Okay, thanks.
Ian, go ahead.
John, just real quick regarding this, can you like send that to our NCO so we can all get that email or something about this Can we get some information about this somewhere, please?
Let me just read you what I have because I had to file this for my husband's business as well. It's a message from the U.S. Department of the Treasury's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. So it's a new filing. If you do your own accounting, then you probably wouldn't have known if you didn't read the new laws. But typically your
Mhm.
accountant would let you know, or whoever's responsible for your tax filings. In my mind, this is something that would have to probably go through professional vocational licensing on top of finance, because I would assume that people that are not, or even people that are unionized, so that's a lot of our trades, that are going to run into issues and not be able to complete a lot of our capital improvement projects if they get fined from this BOI report. So I can forward you my thing, Ian, but I can forward it to Lisa as well, and we can try to figure some things out.
Yeah, this might
I think that's
also be where
Thank
we
you,
need
Jess.
to bring in maybe Congresswoman Tokuda to just see what the federal connection is. Because if it's a federal requirement, right, the state can sort of disseminate, but we don't have the additional information that probably is necessary. So we may have to, or probably best to loop her office in
Yes,
on
good idea.
this issue and questions.
Yeah, and Jesse, you're talking from a standpoint of having employees, correct?
I'm talking about from just a standpoint of things getting done in Hawaii, because we're a lot of small business owners trying to get things done. So in general,
Yeah.
all of this stuff is important. But if the state, at least, if they're saying you folks don't have any additional information, there's no state requirements joined to this, if we can at least pump out some information for the community, if that deadline is the 13th.
Yeah, that'd be good. Lisa, your suggestion I think is a really good one. I think Katie, if you're still there, having the governor's office also take a look at this real quick and get some kind of information out would be really helpful. I think the deadline was back to the January 13th because of the lawsuit, but I'm not sure of that.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
thank you.
we'll
Thanks.
look into it more with Rep. Tokuda's office and we'll get a little thread going on here. Mahalo, Rep.
Great.
Kitagawa.
Thank-
Community in person, anything for Rep. Kitagawa? Online, anything for Rep. Kitagawa? Mahalo, Rep. Kitagawa. I'm gonna circle back to Makana. If you've got audio, do you want to try give it a go?
Aloha, haoli makahiki kako. Makana from Senator Brenton Awa's office. We have a follow-up from the November meeting. I know there are some concerns about the water quality in the Kahalu'u pond. We recently met with key individuals involved in the Alawai Canal cleanup, where they have been successful with the Genki balls containing the effective microorganisms. So that's something that we're in the works with, communicating with them and trying to figure out how we can move forward and implementing that in the waters of Kahalu'u. And also plans are on the way to develop a program that would introduce these microorganisms directly into cesspools, addressing a major source of pollution. This initiative aims to provide a long-term solution to improve our community's water quality, utilizing the effective microorganisms. Upcoming legislative sessions starting January 15th. The last session, Senator Awa reintroduced the About Time bill, aiming to prohibit foreign ownership of land in Hawaii. That bill was changed into a study and blocked in the House. So this session, same initiative with a different approach with two separate bills. Senate Bill 1 prohibits foreign entities from purchasing agricultural land in Hawaii, aligning with similar legislation already enacted in 24 other states. The second bill, number pending, proposes a prohibition on foreign ownership of land within 10 miles of military installations. And third, we got Kahalu'u Beach. We are continuing to develop the plans for submission to the Department of Parks and Recreation for proposed work. The initial focus will be on clearing the streams, followed by subsequent steps. Once we have a clear outline, we will coordinate with our counterparts at the city and the state levels to move the project forward. Open for any questions. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Makana. Just to clarify, the Genki ball implementation is what we're looking at for the Kahalu'u Lagoon, correct?
Correct. We understand that it's one of the most polluted, water systems as of right now, with some of the testing that they've been doing. And because of the success that they're having with the EM and the microorganisms in Alawai, we feel that it's a great, very affordable solution to be applied there.
Mahalo. Board members in person, anything for Senator Awa's office? Keone, go ahead.
Yeah, how's it, Makana? I just wanted to ask if you would be able to stay on until the resident concerns portion of this meeting, because I'm actually going to bring up something that kind of outlines something that we've been dealing with foreign investors trying to buy and develop the property behind our house, which is zoned for conservation at the moment, but they're constantly coming at us. So I just wanted you to be present to hear what I'm gonna present, and then I was gonna reach out to Brenton as well about it. But yeah, that's all. I just wanted to see if you'd be able to stay on until that.
Can do.
Right on. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mahalo, Keone. Any other board members online for Senator Awa's office? Seeing none. Community in person, anything from Makana? Community online, anything from Makana, Senator Brenton Awa's office? Seeing no hands. Thank you for staying with us, Makana.
All right. Aloha. Have a great week.
Moving on in our agenda to Windward Community College, Chancellor Artis Eschenberg. Hi, Artis.
Kako, Onoi Kamakahiki. Happy New Year to everyone. I've got two things for tonight. The first is that we have a new exhibition starting at our gallery Iolani on January 18th. It's called Ho'okahi Ka'ilau Like Ana, and it's featuring the Festpac carvers, the 14-foot Hoi Uli steering paddles that were crafted by 70 Moana Nui Akea carvers as symbols of collective self-determination during the 13th Festival of the Pacific Arts and Culture, Festpac, in Honolulu. They are being installed today and yesterday, and it's going to be an amazing exhibition. It's free to come. We'd love to have people come and visit. The night of the 18th, there will be an opening ceremony. And again, it's at Gallery Iolani on the Windward campus up by the theater. The second is, I think the governor's office left, but this year, Windward has two positions in the University of Hawaii budget, which are for mental health tech. They would make permanent the two budgets we were allocated temporarily for 1 year last year through the legislature through a bill by Representative Martin, supported by all of our legislators on this side. It has made it through the governor's office budget as well. We're thankful for the governor for recognizing this need, and I'll keep you updated on how it goes, but appreciate, as always, community support. Thanks to the support of the community, Windward has gotten to grow in our capacity to serve the community. And I should also report that our enrollment is up and the spring semester starts next Monday. So mahalo to everyone here and to your relatives for supporting the college. And I can take questions, but there usually aren't.
Mahalo, Artis. Board members in person, anything for Artis? Being none. Board members online, anything for Artis? Uncle John.
I just want to say thanks, artists, for getting me and my family to ride at the parade. Appreciate you.
Oh, of course, of course. We were happy to have you as part of the ohana.
Right on. Thank you.
And artists, I just want to add, you know, the Kapu Landgraph's photography exhibit over a period of time was just absolutely fantastic. Great to have her on board, her and all of the people that it draws into WCC. So really excellent job on that. I have a biased point of view, of course. Yeah.
There was a picture or maybe two of Uncle John in the exhibit. And really, we're so thankful to have Kapu join our art discipline, our humanities department. She's really taken on the leadership of the gallery and taken it in such a beautiful direction to serve our community. So mahalo. Thanks for noticing. Everyone come out. It really is an enjoyable, it's a great space.
Sorry,
Bravo.
Artis. What time is the gallery opening on the 18th? Just for the record.
Let's see. The reception is from 3 to 6 on January 18th. And the gallery is open in general Monday through Saturday from 1 to 5 p.m.
Mahalo, Artis. Community in person, anything for Artis? Community online, anything for Artis? Thank you, Madam Chancellor.
Mahalo nui.
Mahalo, Chancellor. Nice to see you.
Moving on in our agenda, Uncle Cliff, Kaneohe Bay Regional Council. What you got, Uncle Cliff? Nothing. Okay. Thanks, Uncle Cliff. Moving on to U.S. Congress Oh, wait, Auntie Rocky, you got something.
Yeah,
Okay, go Auntie Rocky.
because I attended that meeting, the Kaneohe Bay Regional Council.
Go ahead.
One of the things that came up was the aquarium fish. They wanted to, the issue was putting a ban on the statewide commercial aquarium fishing. The Kaneohe Bay Regional Council took a stand on preserving the aquarium, commercial aquarium fishing in the Kaneohe Bay. So I think that will be coming up in this legislative session to keep the ban on Kaneohe Bay commercial fishing on aquarium fish. And another one is an update that they're gonna have an update on the Kaneohe Bay master plan. They're working on that too. And then some of the board members, their term is up. So you're gonna have to be looking for some new board members.
When is their
The next
election?
meeting,
when is their
it's
next-
up. It's up. You gotta that information. I don't know. Everybody so far is you'd have to contact Neil
Ian
Brian
Lee?
Nielsen
Brian
from
Nielsen. Okay.
Yelenar. And when is the next meeting? Jen, You got the date yet for the next meeting? Everybody should attend this meeting because, they do it on Zoom. And it's important.
You know, okay, you know when the next meeting is, Auntie, so we can announce it.
It was at Winter Community College, yeah.
Ian, do you know when the next meeting is? Just so that
Christy
we can
got it.
log it.
I do not. I'm sorry.
No worries. Auntie Christie's looking it up. Okay,
So,
anything else?
can I ask with regards to that, are more than, is it a sunshine issue? Are more than 3 board members allowed to attend those meetings?
I think that that's fine because we're not having our own separate meeting. I mean, it's another community meeting that we're attending, right? And so the Sunshine Law, like in summary, it's not, you can't talk about community issues together. We're a community. We have to talk about the issues. It's that we cannot talk about a community issue and decide together, not within the board setting that's filmed on live for our community, how we're going to vote on something that's agendized. So we can talk about everything that's going on in our community, but we can't agree, hey, you vote yes, you vote yes, you vote yes. That's not okay. But if we know what's going on in our community, which we should, that's totally fine.
Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no
Thanks.
problem. Okay, well, Auntie Christie, you got that date, Auntie Christie? Okay, I'm gonna move on while Auntie Christie's looking for that date. Does anybody have questions besides when that next meeting is for Uncle Cliff and Auntie Rocky, community in person or online? Seeing none. Okay, moving on to U.S. Congress Representative Jill Tokuta's office. Do we have anyone from Representative Tokuta's office?
Yes, hi. I'm
Hi.
Emelina Tori. I'm Congresswoman Takuta's Community Relations Manager. So I wanted to provide an update first on the district office's new location. The Congresswoman's district office recently relocated to 1001 Bishop Street, ASB Tower Suite 1503 in downtown Honolulu. So that information has been posted online. I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware that there's a new address. Here, an update on the Congresswoman's work in DC. 2 of her bills were signed into law by the end of the last Congress. The first bill was the Lahaina National Heritage Study Act. And then there was a second bill to rename the Captain Cook Post Office on Hawaii Island after First Lieutenant John Ku'ule Kauhaihau. President Biden also signed the Federal Disaster Tax Relief Act into law, which included language that the Congresswoman had championed related to make it easier for Maui fire victims to deduct disaster-related losses. Additionally, Congress voted to pass a short-term continuing resolution, which extends federal government funding through March 14th, 2025, narrowly avoiding a government shutdown last year. The last update from the office is that the Military Academy nominations, we thank all the students who applied in October. Applicants will be notified sometime this month about whether they will receive a nomination from the Congresswoman, and will post a public press release soon. So I also wanted to note that I did hear the discussion earlier about the Corporate Transparency Act and concerns about, notification of small businesses, that this was a new requirement. So that is something that I can look into. I'll put my email address in the chat because I forgot which individual had wanted to share information about this, but our office can look into, what the requirement was for notifying small businesses, whether there's like an extension allowed and all those things. So feel free to contact me and I can answer any further questions.
Mahalo, Emily. I just want to give you some information since you're here. It's regarding the BOI report. It says to visit www.fincen, so fincen.gov/BOI for information about the beneficial ownership information program. So, and it was Uncle John Ripoon that initiated that request. Board members
you.
in person, thank you. Anything? Go ahead, Uncle Cliff.
The meeting is the 21st, January 21st, 6 o'clock.
Okay, thanks, Uncle Cliff. We'll come back to that. Anything for Representative Tokula's office? Online, anything for Representative Tokula's office? Seeing none. Community in person? No hands. Community online, anything for Representative Tokula's office? Seeing none. Mahalo, Emily, for being with us. Uncle Cliff, you want to go ahead and say that again? When is the Kaneohe Bay Regional Council meeting?
Council meeting will be January 21st, 6 o'clock.
Here at
Remember,
Key Project
Don't be in this room
in this room. Okay.
unless they change.
Or on Zoom also. Two, both in person and on Zoom. Okay, here at Key Project. Or you can stay home on
You
Zoom.
better check, because I think it might be at Winter Community College.
Okay, we're gonna double check, but it's on the 21st at 6
Last
o'clock.
time I was at Winter Community College this month. Yeah, let's check on it.
Okay, we'll just, everybody Google it, but supposedly January 21st at 6 o'clock. Moving on to Kaneohe Marine Corps Base, Auntie Christie.
Aloha, Chair, board members, and community members. Happy New Year. It's gotten off to a kind of a rough start for everybody. So lots of prayers for all of the families, and as we said earlier, for our civil servants, our firemen, our police, who are putting themselves in harm's way to keep us safe. I wanted to just kind of wrap up a few things that we had in December. I was blessed to be able to take off most of December, so I was out of the pocket for a little bit, and I'm revived. We finished off the year with hosting Pokolea on the Marine Corps base, and doing so, we were able to support several elementary, intermediate schools throughout Waimanalo and Kailua. So off of the installation, over 1,000 students off of the installation were able to come on board through a collaboration with the Mokapu Elementary School and the Marine Corps, being able to provide a venue that Hokulea could dock safely. And it was nice for the crew members even because because of the installation security. They were able to go home and leave the vessel without having an anchor watch overnight, which was great because they worked really hard with all of these students. And it was a very quick and a rough and a quick turnaround to be able to provide that many students with that opportunity. I was really glad that we were able to do that. And then, of course, I will leave it to the rest of the community to share what happened in Haiti, because we were over there too, but it was really nice. And then we had the Marine Corps birthday. And I'm going to bring this up only because this coming year, 2025, it'll be the 250th year. So we are going to begin planning for that. And there'll be some opportunity for the community to come and get involved. During the Clipper ceremony and during the Marine Corps birthday, they give opportunity for previous veterans who have served to stand and be recognized. And this past year during that ceremony, I noticed that there were only a few, and I know the Windward side has many. So if you folks know of somebody who has served and retired, or maybe they're still working a job, not that old yet, to have to be able to just get to enjoy waking up whenever they want to. And we can honor them and invite them to the ceremony. Reach out to me so that we know who they are and we can do that. Other than that, that is all I have for the Marine Corps base, if there's any questions.
Okay, thanks, Auntie Christie. I don't have a question. I have maybe like the tippy tip of starting a conversation when we're talking about illegal fireworks and tragedies and people mishandling fireworks because they don't have the training or they're inebriated. This is probably not going to mitigate a lot, but maybe will. What if Canary Marine Corps Base and other installations, because they have the manpower and they have the space, they're putting on these air shows, which I have mixed feelings about, but for New Year's Eve, if there's a community collaboration with the city, the state, the military installations to put on a fireworks spectacular or something for the community where the community can go and enjoy safely. Just a thought that came to mind throughout the tragedies, because they have the manpower as well and the space to do so. And they are here by our grace, right? And our leases that we provide. So just throwing it out there. Board members in person, anything? Auntie Rocky?
I would just like to mention after 40,000 years again, the Hawaiian flag finally is on the Kaneohe Bay Marine. Finally. I've seen it in Schofield and all over the place, but this is the first time ever in the Kaneohe Marine Base. We have our Hawaiian flag flying. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Board members in person, anyone else? Board members online, Ian, go ahead.
Christy, I just wanted to say thank you for supporting the public in the Makahiki opening. It was a really beautiful night, and it was a great ceremony. So mahalo for that. And I don't know if you have anything about February, but by the time our next meeting comes up, the closing of Makahiki is going to be right there. So any info on that might be great. But thank you.
Yeah.
It was a wonderful time.
Oh, it was a really nice evening. Sorry. Thank you for bringing that up. We also hosted the opening of Makahiki season with the lineal descendants, and Donnie Campbell organizes and coordinates that. And we have, I don't know, Ian, maybe you can elaborate a little bit, because actually Ian did most of the ceremony for all of the entry coming in. He did the ole for everybody coming in, and they represent the protectors of that Ku'au beach. And that surf over there, the undertow, if you don't know what you're doing, which many of them that are there aren't, they're not ma'a to that, so they don't know. So the Ian and the lifeguards, they stand as the protectors over that area, and they keep everybody who utilizes that water informed and safe. And that was a big part of part of what our Makahiki, and we had PBS come. So the Hopolea crew came and participated on that day, because that was the day they sailed in. But yes, Ian, it was really nice. When our February event, we can chat a little bit offline, but I did get a chance to speak with the individual who reached out to coordinate. But you and I can talk story. You can always come by my office.
Sounds good. I'll do that. I was
Okay.
expecting all those props, but yes, it's great that you had the lifeguards and water safety stand. There are some firemen there too, and I know all the emergency services on base after hearing about what happened, and how that kind of came about. They would love to be a part of it too. So wonderful. Let's keep it going, and just there to support Auntie Donnie and Uncle Wally for sure.
Mahalo, Kalamai. Community online, anything for Auntie Christy, MCBH? Seeing no hands. Thanks, Auntie Christy. Moving on to residents and community concerns. Board members, do you have anything from your community members, Auntie Rocky?
I haven't, someone called me and they wanted to remain anonymous. And this is a neighbor's concern that I asked them, you need to give me the address. The members say that on 47-315 Miu Miu Loop, they rectify a health hazard. They say that there's a puppy mill. Multiple attempts have been made to contact the owner of the property. The owners seem to, the neighbors seem to be hearing the crying, the barking of the dogs, the smell, the poop, the flies. Rats has been increasing with the ground surrounding area. Members want to remain anonymous because they are afraid of the person that owns the dogs, but they want it looked into. So I'm just concerned, maybe we can bring it up in the next agenda.
Sounds good, Auntie Rocky. Sorry, could you give me the address again, just so I can make notes for chair for the.
I asked him what's the address. The address was 47-315 Mio Mio Loop.
Um, my parents live on Mio Mio Loop, and I've seen that sign. It says Magnificent Golden Retriever
I never seen
puppies.
that.
I've seen the sign. It's a black and purple sign. So yeah,
You might know about it, and they said they got
Well,
the stench of the.
I'll ask
poop
my
and stuff.
parents. I'll ask my parents a little bit more about it, but I've seen the sign. Okay, I will pass that note to chair for next month's agenda. Any other board members with their community concerns? Keone, I know you have a large one. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this. So the Bellabond Foundation has been going around the neighborhood here on UU Street. They've generated this brochure claiming that they're trying to acquire the land, which is Pu'omai Eli Eli, behind our houses, the 100+ acres that are back there. And they have been representing themselves as they're trying to preserve that mountain, right? So what they've been doing was they've been collecting signatures. They've been going around and they've been asking the neighborhood, the community here, to sign their petition to preserve the land. And that's all they've said. That's all they say. And then after you sign it, they hand you this brochure, which actually outlines what they're actually trying to do is they're trying to create an ecotourism destination. It maps here that they're trying to build 2 miles of raised platform walkways up on the mountain face here. They're also trying to build 12 treehouse units at the Kahalu'u side of UU Street. And here on their map, it shows that they've cited that the heiau is here, but it's actually right here where the end of their walkway is. So like that's all wrong. And they're going around in the guise of they're trying to create a permaculture garden there that would be accessible to the community and all of this other stuff. The issue that has been raised by the community members here that have approached me and asked me to bring this up tonight is the fact that one, they lied to get the signature. They weren't completely upfront about what they were asking for the signature for, and then didn't give them the actual information until they already had the signature. Two, they were actually seen putting these into mailboxes of people who weren't at home.
That's a federal offense, by the way.
That
So
is a federal
if
offense, and
if anybody has videos of that, go ahead and
yeah.
let's send those in to our
I
representatives.
asked some of the surrounding neighbors if they have like security cameras on their houses, if they can look back. They've also asked the Shade family, which is the easement here, which is one of the main easements that they would use to try to build all of this. They basically tried to offer them money to buy their house to get them out of the way because they specifically told one of the members of the Shade family that, oh, I was told you're going to be the thorn in my side, which the Shade family member replied, I'm one of 2 thorns. You're going to have to deal with the Machado up the road. And then he's like, oh yeah, Jesse Machado signed my petition. That's how I got this. My brother got tricked into signing their petition.
Okay.
And
do you have any,
and
are there any more leaflets to that pamphlet that you want to show us?
yeah, so yeah, like they're building, they're trying to build like these tree houses, and this is all AI generated. It's like they put it together because they're trying to make a move on it, right? Like none of this stuff, if you know this area, none of this stuff is actually feasible. I've done a USGS survey of the land. The soil is junk. There's no way they're going to be able to do it without bringing tons and tons of soil from somewhere else to make any agriculture work. The other thing is my family, like my grandfather, has been fighting against people trying to do this for decades now. ever since back like Kawamoto time when he owned it, and he tried to buy us out. And like I just don't understand how these people keep being able to buy this land and then try to figure out new ways to skirt around what is supposed to be conservation to create this. And like the major
No,
issue
that's really
that
where we
like
come in, right? We're the
yeah,
we're the
and
initial
like
thorn.
the constituents,
Okay.
they're worried because like if this were to go through, what's to stop more of this tourism development happening over here in these areas where they're going to try to end up encroaching into what is agricultural land? And
So
that's what we're
theoretically, they've already violated because they're supposed to come to the board first before
yeah,
anything
yeah.
else for community projects. And now they're federally violating by putting things into people's mailboxes instead of
Yeah.
using the US Postal Service. Real quick, I just want to warn our community that's in person and online and anyone who watches this hereafter to not sign anything if you're unsure. That's just a general rule of thumb. Just please be careful what you're signing.
Yeah. So the gentleman that came is Mario Michiosia. He and his
Let's
daughter
let's get
are
this on the
talking about
agenda,
that.
Kyone. How do you give me a one-liner so we can give this to chair to put on the agenda so we can have a more in-depth conversation and possibly take action
Let's just
on
call it the
this item.
since they're naming this the Kahalu'u Nature Sanctuary, we're gonna just make Kahalu'u Nature Sanctuary resolution, like because I want to call a motion for us to generate a resolution.
Okay, let's
And
not well actually I guess you can. Okay. So you want Kahalu'u Nature Sanctuary resolution. Okay, we will
yeah,
get that on there
I mean,
for
like,
next
if
meeting.
I'm going too fast, then that's fine. I don't have to call the motion now. I
No, no,
want
no,
it to
we
be
can't.
known that
Well,
like
we actually can't technically
do that.
we can't technically do it now because it's
Okay.
not on our agenda. And
Okay.
you're also bringing it in resident community concerns. So it's a
Okay.
little bit
Yeah.
where we had a hiccup last meeting with just some like housekeeping things. So we're gonna move forward doing everything, dotting our i's and crossing our t's perfectly. So
Copy that.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna go ahead and ask for this in board business and ask chair to get this on our agenda for February. In the meantime, community, please be aware, don't sign this petition for several reasons. Also, if there were going to be any cultural preservations that, for lack of a better description, that Haole AI is not how we're going to preserve our Hawaiian culture in our space.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
Councilmember Wire has
definitely,
something to add. Go ahead, Councilmember.
No, I was just gonna make a request. If you have photos or can take photos, can you email us a copy of that brochure?
yeah.
Because
So what I'll do is I'll try to scan it on my computer tomorrow and try to send it to you. But if not, like I have access to more of them. I can come and bring you a hard copy of this
okay, or you can
if I
email,
have
we
to.
can
Like,
set up a time to connect. Because we can, in the meantime, while we're waiting the agenda, we can talk to DPP and do our research as well. Mahalo.
Mahalo,
yeah,
Councilmember.
yeah.
Okay,
Thank you guys. I
Keone,
just have to bring it up
so
because everybody's worried because they
yeah,
got tricked into signing
we all
that
need
paper.
to be maka'ala about this. Thank you for bringing this to us. Board members in person, you have any other discussion you want to have with Keone about this? Uncle Rick or Auntie Rocky? Uncle Rick?
I was just gonna say Chair Chang is from our neighborhood. If you're gonna agendize it for next month, let's get her to come too, nip it in the bud right there.
All right, so we're gonna request Don Chang to come to next month's meeting as well.
Cool.
Board members, Uncle John,
Yeah, can you hear me?
yes.
Yeah. So really important, I think nothing's been said about the current landowners. I think we should probably reach out to the current landowners, put the TMK on the agenda item so that anything relating to that TMK, we can get an update, invite the landowners, give us an update on what their plans are. We have talked about this property, a number of times there, and we've talked about the idea of trying to get it off the market, maybe even inviting folks from the Trust for Public Land or Hawaiian Island Land Trust to just come listen in, which they can do virtually pretty easily because this is one of those properties that we have talked about trying to get under a land trust. So yeah, but to make sure that we have the TMK for this property on the agenda
Okay.
And
Keone, do you
that
happen to have that by chance, just so I could write it in?
I don't have it on me, but I can get it. So the landowner now, about a few years ago, right before I joined the Kahalu'u neighborhood board, they had a meeting with the neighborhood. So they were trying to do this without the whole ecotourism part of it. They were just trying to build. They wanted to skirt through and build 14 units back there, and the neighborhood was against it. And that meeting was led by a gentleman named Sean Lopez, who works for G70, and he's actually working with this group now. He's now trying to sell this dream to this group. He's on board with these people.
This
He's
is a
connected to it again.
P1 lot, Keone? It's a preservation one.
Yeah, it should be. I know it's conservation because the conservation line is all the way up to my pin for my property. The conservation line it's directly butted up to the edge of my property line right there,
Okay,
all the
so
way
if
across the
someone,
mountain.
if someone can search up that TMK so I can make the note for chair for next meeting's agenda.
I
So
can
I,
I
'cause
can
I just
type
have to pass this on to him.
I can
Ian?
type in the key map number into the chat.
Oh, you have the TMK. Yeah, go ahead and type it in and then I'll
Yeah.
copy it. Thank you.
Jesse,
Ian, go ahead.
Jesse, can I?
Oh, sorry, go ahead. Uncle John, sorry, let me go to Ian and then I'll come back.
Sure.
Mine was just short. It was just to say, Keone, I don't know how useful it would be, but perhaps a counter petition where you have your neighbors and all the people who got tricked into signing that petition. Maybe you have them sign this other one to conflate the issue and to let everybody know that let these people know that we all stand against it.
So I am actually planning on walking my neighborhood this week and speaking to all of my neighbors, speaking to them and letting them know if they haven't signed it, don't sign it, and if they have, to let me know how they feel and if they would be willing to sign a petition against this. Because I just felt like so many of my neighbors came up and just felt totally tricked by them, you know, like just they were like, I would not have signed that if I knew what they were actually trying to get signatures for. And my own brother was one of them, you know.
In retrospect, at least it's
More of
making
that
the
happens
community aware of the
all the reasons
movements that they're
for it.
making.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Uncle John.
Yeah, I think like you, Jesse, this is great news because they have like 2 strikes against them already. Probably going to get struck out on the next pitch. But did you say G70?
Yeah, G70, I think they're like a
So
development group.
no, they're a
Yeah,
planning consultant. So
yeah.
I will reach out. Kavika McKeague is the principal with G70. They've done extensive work in our area, really good work. And I'll reach out to him too, invite him to come to the meeting virtually, tell us what he knows. Okay,
Yeah.
good.
And then Sean Lopez was the one that's spearheading it for them. So, but
Okay.
yeah, and that's all I have. Thank you for listening.
Mahalo, Keone. Board members online, anything else for community concerns from your community members that anyone has reported to you? Seeing none. Community in person, you got anything? No. Community online, if there's any community online. Uncle Ken, go ahead. Uncle Ken, you gotta unmute. You're still muted.
Oh, there it is. Okay, I have the TMK if you like.
Is it 14700100200?
4701002.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Uncle
Yeah.
Ken. We got it. All right, we are moving on in our agenda to board business. The approval of the Wednesday, November 13th, 2024 regular meeting minutes. I'm just gonna call, are there any abstentions to, or any objections to the meeting minutes from last meeting? Okay, can I just ask for abstentions? Okay, if there's no amendments, any amendments to the meeting minutes? Okay, we're passing the meeting minutes from Wednesday, November 13th, 2024. Next on our agenda is the discussion and a tentative motion regarding the water service at Ohoimanu Place. Uncle John or and or Ian, do you guys have anything else to note to that at this time?
I have no update, and we kind of touched on this. In some respects, this is the area where the sidewalk discussion came up in the Huimala
Right.
place. I haven't heard anything more from Maka Bastaris. And I know that the property there is a CPR, so I think they're having a lot of discussions about how CPRs work. So I'll check back with Maka, and I don't think we need to put it on our agenda unless she asks for that.
Okay.
But yeah, unless Ian's got something.
Ian, anything? Okay, great. We're moving on to sub-district reports. I'm just going to go in order. Sub 1, anything? Anything to report? Sub-district 1.
I have real quick. Mahalo for the support for the pushing the concept of hydroelectric power forward. The Hui'ulu Mea'ai got news that they received the second phase of a Solvit grant from the Department of Energy, federal level. So I think we're going to start to see more and more information that will help us all take a good hard look at what this could be. Nothing set in concrete, but definitely some very strong support for looking at the concept. And also, speaking of G70, G70 did a really good job of they were engaged by Hui'ulu to take a look at what all the permitting procedures would be and so on. And I think that's something that eventually we can bring before the board to share. This is not going to move at lightning speed, but it's the kind of thing that we really need to be looking at. So yeah, thanks.
Mahalo, Uncle John. Sub-district 2, anything to report? Rick, anything? Uncle Cliff, anything? Nothing from me. Sub-district 3? Auntie Rocky?
You know, the constant, the Hiakia Pier, I was talking to one of my relatives that goes to the pier and I says, you know, they're talking about privatizing the pier. I was totally against it before, but listening to all the action at the pier, I'm kind of like in doubt. Because nighttime I hear the cars spinning around in circles over there. But this past month, because I had to house sit some people's dogs, my neighbors, fireworks was going crazy. And somebody who hangs at the pier said, evidently, the guys who's doing the fireworks was actually doing samples because they were selling the fireworks at the Hiakia Pier. So, I mean, you were hearing like boom, big bombs, aerial shots, everything. And I had my neighbor's dogs in my bedroom shaking up, so scared. But, you know, it got so disgusting. But since that New Year's, you know, tragedy, it's kind of like stopped a little bit. But nighttime over there, it needs, you know, the cops can't be there all the time because there's not that many thieves. It needs to be looked at. Mahalo.
Mahalo, Auntie Rocky. Any other sub-district 3 reports?
What?
Uncle Cliff, we're 2. You and me were 2. And
No,
Uncle
I got
Rick.
something. I got something.
Yeah, hurry up. We passed you already.
You know this roundabout we got here? You ever seen 3 guys in a roundabout doing burning rubber on there? 3 guys in a circle, going in circle. So the people in the circle has the right of way, right? So you get 3 guys going in the same direction. Nobody can get in. They're burning rubber around in that circle.
Time for scrap, Uncle Cliff. Take your cane. Yeah. No, just kidding. Okay. Uncle Cliff. Sub-district.
Jesse.
Yes. Yes.
Jesse, can I comment really quickly on that?
Uncle John, hurry up. You had your chance.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So, you know, as they're bringing that project to a close, one of the things that could be done is install cameras to look at the roundabout. I think that could be really helpful. So anyway, if we'll kind of suggest that forward.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks,
Yeah.
Uncle John. Sub-district 4. Anything?
Nothing I'm aware of. How about Spencer?
Chair, anything in your sub-district to report?
Nothing on my end.
Okay. Sub-district 5, don't see Member Jardine on here, so nothing. And sub-district 6, we're still looking for representatives. Okie dokie. So moving on to announcements, the 2025 Neighborhood Board elections timeline. Candidate registration is open. I believe it opened on December 20th. And it is open until Friday, February 21st, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. And so my board members, I have seen 0 candidate profiles. So please go in and file your candidate registration. Greatly appreciate that. 2025 candidate registration form and the voter registration form and the candidacy declaration form are all in those 2 links that Rachel sent to us. If you need them again, please let her know and she can forward it to you. Our next regular board meeting is tentatively scheduled for Wednesday, February 12th, 2025 at 6 p.m. at Key Project. I'm going to just say for ahead of time, board members, we already know we're going to have a hefty agenda just based on these 3 items that need to get addressed. It's also the beginning of ledge session, and I believe that's the week before first crossover. So while we've had nice volleyball time and I enjoy this time with you, let's make sure that we're keeping our time timely at next meeting so we can get to the meat of the meeting. And that is all I have. Board members, anything? Uncle Rick?
I just wanted to clarify some of the pertinent stuff put in the chat that we that are here live don't get to see. Are you putting it, Rachel, in the minutes? Okay,
Yeah.
thanks.
Thanks, Uncle Rick. Board members or Auntie Rocky?
Just want to announce that the Kahalu'u Civic Club again is putting out the here for anybody who wants to receive a grant. Now is the time to put in for a grant. We normally give grants to people in our own districts, and we look at the 96744. So as soon as they can, put it in to the line. We're online. Just look up the Kahalu'u Civic Club.
Thanks, Auntie Rocky. Board members online. Uncle John, you have any announcements to make, or is your hand just up?
No, oh, sorry, I put my hand down.
Okay, no problem. Community, any announcements in person or online? We are adjourned at 8:11.
I was